Hey, Lee Robinson here from American Sentinel K9. The purpose of this video is to help our clients develop a family companion guardian. Getting the puppy started off right can be very beneficial when it comes to having this dog reach its potential as an adult. So, let's discuss a few do's and don'ts. Now, to start off with, make sure you're dealing with an individual, a human individual that has had a history of producing what it is that you desire, and not somebody that talks a good game but doesn't have any evidence. You need proof of concept. So they need to be able to display that they have repeatedly, not once, not twice, but repeatedly produce what it is that you desire. When you're dealing with an individual such as that, then you've taken the first step in the right direction. The second step is to acquire a dog with a genetic predisposition to excel at the goal that you desire. And a good breeder or a good trainer will help you find that prospect. The third, well, let me address that for a minute. Arnold Schwarzenegger had certainly genetic potential to become one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time. But if he ate donuts and fast food and didn't exercise, sat on the couch, had a heart attack, bypassed surgery, and waited till he was 70 years old to try to obtain those goals, he's not going to be successful. So not only do you need a dog that has the right genetic potential, you need to do your part as an owner or a trainer to make sure that you're following the right protocol to take that genetic potential to its full capability. And that's what this video is about, getting started the right way. We want to avoid the junk food. We want to avoid the donuts. We want to avoid the bad habits, because once you acquire bad habits, once a dog acquires bad habits, that's difficult to fix. It's much easier to start with a blank slate than it is a dog with bad habits. So let's discuss some of the do's and don'ts. You dealt with a person that knows what they're doing. You've got a dog that has the genetic potential. And so now what's next? The next thing you want to do with your young dog is develop a bond. When you first bring this dog home, it's left its current home, and some dogs are very adaptable to new situations. Other dogs maybe take a minute to respond. And generally speaking, getting a dog about 7 to 9 weeks, the adaptability is going to be pretty good. But when you get a dog at a little older, 3-4 months old, it becomes a little more stressful. You've passed some of the imprinting phase, and a trainer can do some imprinting with a pup. A breeder can do some imprinting with a pup, but remember that imprinting is done in their environment. When you change their environment, that's another type of imprinting, and so you need to be aware that there may be a little more difficulty in transitioning an older dog than it is a younger dog. Okay, that's one thing. So, in an ideal world, get the dog at 8 weeks, okay? Now, that's it, when it's possible, get the dog at 8 weeks. If it's not possible, then be prepared. Well, even no matter what, be prepared to deal with some environmental changes. So spend some time now bonding with the dog. You remember, puppies are not protected. Puppies are not protectors. Puppies are protected. So you need to protect your puppy. Make that puppy feel safe and secure. Don't pick it up and make it freak out that every situation is dangerous, unless it is really a dangerous situation. Like obviously if you have some stray dog that's very vicious running towards your animal, you do what you got to do to keep your animal safe. But just because there's a little stress, be nonchalant. Don't worry about it unless it's something to worry about. Be kind of nonchalant and just go about your business, and the dog will learn to go about its business as well. All right, and then in your house, deal with food reward and toy reward, and just build a good relationship so that dog learns that not only are you the pack leader, but you're a fair pack leader, you're a kind pack leader, you're a friendly pack leader, you enjoy life, and you're going to teach this dog to enjoy life. And that's going to help the dog feel more secure in a new setting, and develop its confidence. It's going to be happy-go-lucky. It's going to feel good about life. It's going to walk around like, hey, I own this. And you have to just keep things positive. If you're putting stress on the dog, you're not making a very good environment for the dog. And then you're going to ask the dog to perform. You're not even spinning the mud. You're going backwards. So that's the wrong thing to do. All right, so now let's assume that you've got a good relationship with the dog. The dog comes up to you, it enjoys your company, it likes you, it's working with you. Now take this dog into small steps, take it out to see a little bit of the world. You know, get it used to riding in your vehicle, make that a positive experience. As you're riding, maybe have a handful of hot dog niblets or something like that to take a niblet out of your hand, and the dog's going to look out and good boy, teach the dog to be bold and confident in the vehicle. If the dog lays down, just try to get the dog to get up and give it a niblet. Let it go, take the dog when it's hungry. All right, so if the dog's hungry, put it in the vehicle and go for a short ride. And don't make it a troublesome 1 hour ride in hot traffic, stop and go, abrupt, where you have to pay attention to the environment. Go in a rural area where you can kind of go at your own pace and be working with the dog safely without running a stoplight or something like that. You know, if you have to have a passenger help you with the dog, that's even better. Or get a passenger. All right, that's just a good idea. Get a passenger and just keep the dog forward in the mind and let the dog learn that this is a fun thing to do. Okay. So again, you're strengthening the bond and the trust between you and your dog. Also do some prey work. Prey work on, there's plenty of videos of me working puppies out here in my front yard with a rag or something like that, but I'm usually working multiple dogs at the same time, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dogs at a time. If I was just working one dog, I would try to get that dog used to a collar and a back tie. And I do that as well. If you doubt this, go look at the video of Justice and Tiggy at 16 weeks working on a back tie. They were already used to the back tie by the time they were 16 weeks old. We were actually doing some work with them at as little as 12 weeks on a back tie. But most of their work prior to that was done off leash. But if you just have one dog, you can get this done earlier. You can get this dog used to a collar by the time it's 8 weeks old and used to a back tie by the time it's 10 weeks old, and start your rag work on a back tie by the time that dog's 16 weeks old. But the back tie work should only be prey-based. You're not going to put any defensive pressures on this dog. If you do that, you're going to be teaching the dog stress and avoidance. Remember, defense is a stressful type of situation, and if you're trying to make the dog enjoy the work and build the work ethic, why are you doing defensive work? You don't do that until actually you've already developed a work ethic. You need to develop that desire to work before you start doing defense work. Okay? Now, there are times that experienced trainers may make exceptions to this rule, but if you're watching this video, odds are you're probably not an expert trainer. So don't do monkey see, monkey do. An expert trainer knows how to dance with their partner. They experienced dancers, they move in unison with each other, and by moving in unison, when the dog does this, the trainer instinctively and at the same time does that in order to enhance that dog's ability, but they don't keep working that dog in stress. And if you think experienced trainers are working dogs, young dogs with a lot of stress, you're kidding yourself. Not if they're any good. Okay, a good trainer might expose them to small bits of stress, but they're going to try to keep this work very positive and fun, and build this work ethic until the dog is displaying a lot of frustration when the work is denied, like the dog's just like edging to get at it. Then you might expose small bits of stress that are age-appropriate stress. Don't take Rocky Marciano, who was a dog that could go to war and back, a man that could go through war and back in the boxing ring. Don't ask him at 5 years old to get hit in the face by a fighter like Mike Tyson in his prime, okay, because then you're going to ruin Rocky Marciano. It's age-appropriate stress. This is very important. And really no stress at the very beginning. And then when you do introduce stress, you keep it age appropriate. So, if Rocky Marciano was being conditioned by a boxing trainer, he might have him fight another 5-year-old. But that's going to be kept to a limit. That's not what he's going to do, is just throw him in the ring and let him fight 5 and other 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, and just let them get beat up and fight. That's not the way it works. Most of the stuff is positive conditioning and training that's done behind the scenes, and there's not a lot of show about that because it may be considered to be boring to watch a person learn the basics. And this is what's going to go on with your dogs. Your dogs are going to be learning the basics of prey work, developing a work ethic, getting them used to noises like clatter sticks or whip pops or gunfire, uneven surfaces, but it's all going to be prey motivated, okay, until this dog is ready to take small bits of stress. Now, what I personally recommend is working the dog in just prey work until they're about 16 weeks. And then what I do with my own dogs is I'll just stop there. I don't even do anything after 16 weeks unless I want to do obedience, which is just motivational based, and maybe some compulsion with corrections after a dog learns an obedience command but decides not to comply because even when it knows what to do. I don't use compulsion until a dog knows what to do but decides it doesn't want to comply. Then I'll give it some compulsion. But that's not going to be incorporated into any protection work. That's going to be just obedience work. So I've got this dog, and some people don't even do obedience work until they're really gone pretty far in protection work. So, be careful about adding compulsion. You want to always keep that bond between you can use it. I'm not saying don't use it. It's appropriate. It's necessary. Compulsion is necessary in certain situations, but keep everything positive as you can. And stop working your dog at 16 weeks when it comes to rag work. Let the teeth fall out and the new teeth set in. And once the new teeth set in, then you can start doing protection work again at 8, 10, 12 months of age. And I'm one of the best dogs I've got, Scratch. I didn't do any protection work with him until he was 18 months old. And then when I worked him for a really long time, but I already been observing this dog and for a long time, and he has been asking and asking and asking to work. And his work ethic is really high because I did some work with him when he was young, just like I did with Justice and Tiggy up to about 16 weeks. And then let him sit and mature. And then when we got him out, he could work for a long time. The video is like 20 minutes long of him working, and he's being choked really tight because he wanted to work so much that we had to tighten the collar up so he didn't slip it, because he's got a pretty big neck and he doesn't have a giant head, so he could back out and slip the collar if we weren't careful. And I didn't want Keaton to get mauled by a dog that wanted to do protection work so much. So be careful about that. And so I recommend that basically for the most part, keep your session short, 5 minutes max, until you become an expert, and then you know how to respond with perfect unison. If you can't respond perfectly, remember, every movement that you make, like that's delayed or wrong, you're screwing your dog up. So the older dogs can take a few mistakes, but younger dogs, everything needs to be done perfect. Otherwise, you're developing bad habits. And even with older dogs, it's better, of course, if everything's done perfect. You don't want to develop bad habits in any dog. If you teach a dog avoidance, once a dog learns a bad habit, it's hard to fix. Starting off with a blank slate is much easier than fixing a bad habit. And for this reason, no training is better than bad training. Don't teach your dog avoidance, okay? Don't push too much stress on a young dog and ruin the potential. That's like eating donuts and laying on a couch and then asking Arnold Schwarzenegger to win the competition. It's just not going to happen, okay? No matter the genetic potential, genetic potential with bad training is never going to equate to genetic potential with good training. That's just the way it is, okay? So don't do bad training. If you don't know what you're doing, be patient. Start off with just some basic bonding, building trust. Then do some fun work, rag work, some back tie work. 16 weeks, take a break. Let the dog grow up. Then after the dog's 10, 12 months old, get it back to doing prey-based work with frustration and build the drive to a whole nother level. Then when you got this dog working at an apex level, then you can start introducing some bits of stress with some defense. And of course, it's again better if you have a great trainer. But if you don't have a great trainer, keep your introductions to defense very short, because defense work is stressful. And in time, you're going to build some reliability so that dog can be trusted to stay engaged and still, because it has such a strong work ethic, it likes doing what it does, and you can increase the defense slowly over time. But a really great dog doesn't work in defense. A really great dog works in prey and fight instinct. It's prey drive and fight instinct. All right, so they feel the pain. They just don't care when they're in that high combative mindset. So there's something else going on there, but that's another video for another day. So patience, practice patience. When in doubt, wait. When in doubt, get a better person than you. A more experienced, more knowledgeable person to help you with the situation. When in doubt, listen to the advice of your breeder or trainer. When in doubt, work on the bond. When in doubt, postpone defense work. Practice good judgment. Err on the side of safety. And realize when you're in doubt, it's probably because, no offense intended, I don't like this video because it is potentially offensive, but when in doubt, it's probably because you don't have the abilities to get the dog to the level that it needs to get to. And so that's not intended to be disrespectful. It's saying yield to expertise. Get a good trainer and wait. Work on your bond. Let the dog have fun. And don't let Rocky Marciano, no matter how awesome he is, get hit in the face by Mike Tyson when Mike Tyson's in his prime and Rocky Marciano's only 5 years old. You know, set yourself up for success. Put in the time in basic conditioning and building work ethic. Don't worry about pressure. Pressure can come later. Anyway, that's how to build a family companion guardian. I'm not talking about somebody else comes along and talks about defensive work with a Rottweiler for a patrol dog or a police dog or German Shepherd. Those dogs are different, okay? Those dogs are not gladiators. They're rank-driven dogs that respond well to a challenge that is rank-based. But a gladiator is not stimulated by that. A gladiator is stimulated by prey drive and frustration. It's a different type of dog and it requires a better trainer. Police like rank-driven dogs because you don't have to be an expert trainer. But also, they're not going to sustain a combative situation like a true gladiator will, that's developed by a person that understands how to train a gladiator that's not working out of rank. Why are rank curves called rank curves? But maybe it's because rank has to deal with dominance. And when they can't establish dominance, they quit. Because what kind of dog doesn't quit? A dog that's not fighting for rank. A dog that's fighting out of prey drive and frustration and fight instinct. Those dogs don't quit. And that's the type of dog I want protecting my family, because then when we drop a steak on the ground, they're not going to try to dominate us to obtain that steak. They're some more submissive type of dog. And so those type of situations are produce safer dogs for the family, as long as you have a person that knows how to read a dog. So, you know, anyway, I hope there's some tips in here for you. Patience and bond, prey drive, frustration. Always stop your sessions when the dogs are displaying a higher level. Don't work them so long that they get hot and tired and uninterested. If you're doing that, you're teaching failure. You're basically punishing the dog by keeping the session going too long. And you want the dog to always want to work. And you want to stop the work while the dog is asking for more, taking the item from you. If you have to give the item to the dog, it's not a real win. The dog needs to think that it took the reward, that it is expressing success, and that's what builds confidence. Anyway, y'all have a blessed day. This video is 19 minutes long. I wanted to get it done a lot faster than this, but there's a lot of content. People ask me this question on developing a family companion guardian all the time. You know, if you want to do, the closest thing you can do to defense is with a young dog is going to be like ding dong ditch, having somebody ring the doorbell, the dog barks, you say good boy, good girl, and then you open the door and the person runs off and the dog barks and takes a couple of steps forward. Good boy, good girl. Nothing else. You don't need to do anything else than that until the dog is much older, at least 10 months old. So everything else should just be prey work and fun. Y'all have a blessed day. Lee Robinson, American Sentinel K9, signing out.